Alrighty guys, it is Quaman here today, and I'm bringing you another Q&A. It's kind of weird because it seems like Twitter's kind of changed the format where you can't look at these tweets full screen. If you guys figured out how to do it, please say so in the comment section below. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. So, the first question comes in from Goodnight Moon. Favorite sports game you have watched? That's a very good question. In my opinion, the best sports game I've ever watched would probably have to be the 2013 Miami Heat versus the San Antonio Spurs in Game 6. And, you know, as a Heat fan watching that game, it was crazy because I thought we were honestly going to lose that championship when LeBron missed that three. And then, you know, we miraculously got a rebound. LeBron then hit the three, and then, you know, Kawhi misses the free throw, and then you kick it back out to Ray Allen to hit that three. I mean, I've never had such a surge of excitement and joy in a sports game as I have watching Game 6 of 2013 between the Heat and the Spurs. The next year wasn't that good, but that year was awesome. What would be your all-time basketball starting lineup? I guess he's counting new and old players. Well, me personally, if I'm going to go with favorites instead of what I would pick as the best, I would probably go with Iverson, Wade. I'd probably pick LeBron. Then I'd pick Dirk Nowitzki because he could stretch the floor. And then probably last at fifth, I'd probably pick Shaq because he's going to basically destroy everybody because of his size. That's my lineup in terms of favorite players or players that I particularly like. We'll see. Okay, why did you name your YouTube account Quaman? How did you come to choose that every YouTube name has a meaning or a cause? Interesting question, Ken100. I've actually answered this several times, but the QAA in Quaman stands for my full name. You could obviously figure out what my first name is because if you watch my older videos or if you just listen to a video where Geekdom is in it. And basically because the QAA stands for my full name, that's what the QAA stood for. And then the man was created to add like a superhero effect to my name. In other words, though, what a lot of people don't understand, though, is that the Quaman in my name is not actually supposed to be Quaman. It's supposed to be QAA man, not Quaman. A little bit of a fun fact for you. But that's basically how I chose it. What if Super Gogeta and Stardust... What if Super Gogeta used Stardust Breaker on Kid Buu before he spit out Fat Buu? Would Fat Buu come out? I don't think so. I think if he used Stardust Breaker, they'd both be, like, annihilated. Why didn't Future Trunks go to Planet Namek and wish everybody back? That's a very good question, Steve. There really isn't an honest answer to this because the thing is that that's all writing. I mean, you could say it's logical for them to have made that decision, but the thing is that when you're looking at writing dictates certain things. There's a lot of things in Dragon Ball that you just look at and you say, well, they just wrote it for that to happen. There really is no logical answer, to be honest with you. Thoughts on the Heat so far? PS Go Lakers. Oscar Mascoro. Good question. In terms of my thoughts on the Heat, I mean, I think we have well, looking at this year of the NBA, I definitely think that we have the potential to go to the playoffs and probably be a third or a fourth seed, but I definitely don't see us getting past the Cavs, and I definitely don't see us getting past, you know, any team in the Western Conference. But you know what? I'm just glad that my team is competitive again, and I'm just glad to see them win. I'm not looking for a championship every year. I understand the Big Three era is over, and I'm not going to stop watching the Heat just because the Big Three era is over. I'm not a bandwagon fan like some other Heat fans. Can Super Saiyan Fred Flintstone beat Emperor Big D and Johnny Bravo, the latter two in base form, if they teamed up? Well, Emperor Big D is pretty strong, and I mean, you're talking about a guy who, I mean, he basically models himself after Frieza with Master Roshi's wisdom, so I'm gonna have to go with Emperor Big D on this one. I think he could beat Super Saiyan Fred Flintstone because it doesn't seem like Fred Flintstone really trains a lot. Great question. And in terms of Johnny Bravo, I don't think it would make a difference if Johnny Bravo was there. Emperor Big D would be alone to beat him. What's your thoughts on Piccolo retraining Gohan? I think it's great. I think it's going to create a lot of excitement for Dragon Ball fans because, quite honestly, you know, I'm seeing two characters that have kind of been thrown away in Dragon Ball now getting some usage again, which is a great sign. JM45. What is your favorite Piccolo quote? Man, I haven't actually thought about my favorite Piccolo quote. Like, off the top of my head. Yeah, I can't think of any. I can't think of any Piccolo quotes off the top of my head. This actually might be my featured question. Wow, I mean, okay, let me really think about this one. My favorite Piccolo quote. I'm just going through the entire series. I guess my favorite Piccolo quote would probably have to be in the filler scene where Piccolo is basically watching Gohan struggling against Super Perfect Cell. And then he says to himself in his head, and this was strictly from the Funimation dub, he goes, "'Cause you know what, kid, you were the first thing that, like, ever, you know, meant something to me." And then, like, right after that, like, Piccolo, like, goes out and he goes to go help Gohan. And that was an amazing scene, significantly better in the anime than the manga, because in the manga he didn't even jump in. And the reason I say that is because if you think about it, I mean, here is Piccolo, significantly weaker than Super Perfect Cell, and then he's just thinking to himself, like, I gotta do everything in my best power to help this kid, you know, defeat Cell. And guess what? He flies out knowing that he's basically fighting for a lost cause, or what would seem to be a lost cause, and he goes out to help Gohan. And I think that would probably have to be my #1 Piccolo quote. I can't think of any off the top of my head. In the comment section below, I'm very curious. Pause the video right now and post your favorite Piccolo quote, because I really can't think of any right now, you know, to just the top of my head. Do you think Mystic Gohan, while fighting Super Buu, could hold his own against Beerus? No, I mean, he wouldn't. I mean, Beerus is so much stronger than Super Buu. Mystic Gohan's power was irrelevant, and if you look at Battle of Gods, I mean, he fought him as Mystic Gohan, and he didn't do anything. And, you know, even if Gohan's power declined, I mean, he still wouldn't stand a chance against Beerus, considering Beerus wiped him out that easily, in addition to Gotenks, in addition to Goku, and in addition to Majin Buu. Like, he just wiped them away like they were flies. Okay, and I'll answer these last 3 questions. Do you think Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku could defeat Beerus now, or at least do better than he originally did? Of course, I think that he could possibly hold his own better, but I don't think he'd beat Beerus because of the statements that Frieza was making. Frieza was terrified of Beerus, even though it kind of doesn't make sense, because Frieza shouldn't be able to identify how strong Beerus is compared to him, at least unless he somehow learned how to sense ki. And at the same time, I mean, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, if you look at it, yeah, he's a lot stronger than Super Saiyan God, but I mean, based off of how scared Vegeta and Goku were in Super, you know, when Beerus was around, they seemed like they were terrified of his power, which is implying that Beerus is still a lot stronger than both Goku and Vegeta. So basically, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Vegeta are both stronger than regular Super Saiyan Gods, and they're arguably stronger than Golden Frieza. Yes, you can argue Golden Frieza is probably stronger than them initially, but when his power starts draining, similar to when he was in his 100% form, they'll have the advantage. If you go by the manga, however, you know, Super Saiyan Goku was beating Frieza the whole time. But the point I'm trying to say is, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan is basically in between Super Saiyan God and Beerus, but Beerus is still stronger than both Golden Frieza and the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyans, and the regular Super Saiyan Gods. And I'm gonna go over to my Ask FM questions right now, so stay tuned for just 1 second. Okay, we are now on Ask FM, and the first question starts off with, why wasn't Trunks born with a tail, or pan, or bra? We never saw Goten as a baby, so I will not include him. Well, the honest reason is Akira Toriyama forgot about it. He said so in one of his interviews. I can't remember the exact source. I actually made a video on this. Why didn't Goten and Trunks have tails? I actually did a video discussing this, but in one of his interviews, he actually basically flat out mentioned that he really didn't remember it, but the honest answer to it is, since Toriyama didn't remember, you gotta go with, I guess you could say, a plot hole reason, or at least a reason to, you know, plug up the reason as a whole. And my honest answer to that would be the reason why they were not born with the tail is because they were probably removed at birth, or the Super Saiyan tail gene doesn't always carry over and Gohan's just an exception. So I gave you both a reason for, I guess you could say, nullifying Toriyama for getting it, and I also gave you the honest reason in Toriyama for getting it. Okay, in the General Blue and Baby sagas, the Pilaf placed the 7th Dragon Ball inside a box that the radar can't find. Goku thought the radar was broken because it didn't show him anything, but it should have shown him the 6 Dragon Balls in his backpack. You know, that's actually a very good question. That's actually a really good or it's not really a question, it's more like an observation. That is a good point. I never even thought about that. That is true. They still should have shown the Dragon Balls inside of Goku's backpack because they still technically should have been picked up. Yeah, that's a good point. Good observation. Why doesn't Goku wish his grandpa back to life? I know Gohan said he likes it, but it's still weird. Well, number one, Grandpa Gohan was dead for a while. So that's the whole timing of the Dragon Balls being able to wish somebody back is taking a factor here. And in addition, I don't think Grandpa Gohan would want to come back. Honestly, if Grandpa Gohan came back, he would basically just be a minor character in the series. It's not like he'd make a significant difference. When we saw Grandpa Gohan in the Fortune Teller Baba arc and he fought against Goku, Goku was happy to see him, but that was basically his arc. He wasn't supposed to come back, and Toriyama wouldn't write him to do so. So honestly, I don't see why Goku would do it, especially if it's for Grandpa Gohan's wishes, because he clearly liked the afterlife. Is the Majin Buu Saga literally everyone on Earth died and the Earth was destroyed with the Dragon Balls? In the Majin Buu Saga, literally everyone on Earth died and the Earth was destroyed. With the Dragon Balls, they revived only the good people. Why is Pilaf alive? I guess when Yamcha says the really bad ones, that was funny. But, well, actually, no, that wasn't Yamcha. Or was that Yamcha? I think that was Yamcha who said the really bad ones. Bring them back, except the really bad ones, yeah. And really, if you think about it, Pilaf is bad, but I don't know. I guess he's there for comic relief, and he's not so superly evil bad like, Babidi or any of those other characters, so I wouldn't think they'd be in that conversation. After the Saiyan Saga, they kept the fallen Z Fighters' bodies in capsules, but Kami gave them new ones, and they have been revived in those. What happened with their original bodies? That's a good question, because if you think about it, they basically kept those bodies, so that they would be revived, but then when you look at the Namek Saga, they were just brought back. So, when you think about it, I honestly don't even know. I would think it's because of the Namekian Dragon Balls, and maybe it's because, I don't know, maybe the magic for the Namekian Dragon Balls works differently. But, you're right, I can't understand why they needed new bodies. That's a good point. The bodies were completely irrelevant. These are some really interesting questions. These are more like observations, but yeah, they were completely irrelevant if you think about it. They saved their bodies, but then they were basically given new bodies when they came back to life anyways. So that was a wasted scene. I never thought about this in my entire life of watching Dragon Ball. That was a great observation, Tian Shan Han. How strong is Baba? It's implied that she's probably around the same strength of a normal human, if not weaker, but she uses her magic, similar. I look at Baba like a weaker magical version of Babidi. They're not physically strong, but their magic is very powerful. Tayo Pai Pai versus Mr. Satan. Well, if you're actually going, here's a little bit of a fun story, and this is probably going to be my featured question of this video now that I think about it. Okay. You're basically asking Mercenary Tao versus Hercule Satan. Well, here's a little bit of some lore and some fun facts for you guys. Did you guys actually know that Mercenary Tao actually killed Hercule's master? Basically, what happened is, I remember reading a story online. Kanzenshi reported this, so credit to them. What happened is Hercule had a master, and by the way, for those of you who don't know, Hercule was a part of something called like the Satan Dojo. So that was basically like the Satan Castle or wherever like he went to train. So Hercule and his master basically went into like this bar, and they were teasing Mercenary Tao because he had a ponytail. And Mercenary Tao didn't like it, and then Mercenary Tao basically killed Hercule's master and then severely injured Hercule. And that's one of the reasons why Hercule is so, like, nervous whenever he's fighting against a person who he's not sure how strong they are. And I did a video on this on who is the real Hercule. So, basically, to answer your question, Mercenary Tao almost killed Hercule himself. So that would basically answer your question. Mercenary Tao is actually stronger than Mr. Satan. I hope you guys enjoyed that little bit of a fun story. And just to top off this final question here, hey, how much different do you think Dragon Ball Z would have been if they stuck with the idea of Gohan taking over the series during the Cell Saga after Goku sacrificed himself? Do you think the series would have been better or worse? I mean, it would have been fine, but I mean, it depends on how you write it. The honest answer to it is Gohan, if you look at the direction of the Buu Saga, and if you look at the fact that Gohan was training with the Z-Sword, he has Elder Kai ability unlocked, he was fighting Super Buu, Gohan was on the verge of taking over the series again, but obviously they wanted Goku to have the shine. And in my personal opinion, I think the way they should have finished Dragon Ball is Goku took care of Frieza, Gohan took care of Cell, / Trunks technically killing the future Cell, and then Goten and Trunks and Gotenks take over, the ability of defeating Super Buu, because in my opinion, I think Gotenks could have stopped them, and I think that would have been the best way to go. So if Gohan were to take over the series, it would have been fine, but it would have been unpopular amongst fans. And I think that's basically, some good questions here. Actually, I really want to answer these two. What if Vegeta went back to Earth instead of going back to Namek? And what if Frieza never went to Namek? That's too hypothetical, Vexby. If Frieza never went to Namek, I mean, he'd probably just conquer huge portions of the universe, and he probably wouldn't, he probably wouldn't have been as interested in the Dragon Balls, because you remember Frieza spied on the conversation that Vegeta was having on Earth. That's how he figured out about the Dragon Balls in the first place. So what if Vegeta went back to Earth instead of going back to Namek? I mean, are you saying to be aggressive towards Goku and the rest? I mean, Goku, Gohan and Krillin, if they didn't go to Namek, they would probably have to fight Vegeta off, and in that case, Goku would probably have to kill him. If Pan and Brock could transform into Saiyans, well, they're already Saiyans, so I'm guessing you mean Super Saiyans. Do you think they would have had the same powers as their predecessors? Well, I mean, if a Super Saiyan multiplier is the same as, 50 for anybody, well, then it would basically just depend on what's their base forms. Bra's not really a fighter, so her Super Saiyan ability wouldn't really make a difference. Pan, I've had a very hard time determining how strong she is, so I would assume that Pan is probably going to be at least not that far off from probably Frieza on Namek. Maybe weaker, but not that much weaker. I mean, I think she's probably weaker than Goten and Trunks were as kids, but not, like, astronomically. Maybe she's around the strength of, I don't know, early future teen Trunks. Maybe a little bit stronger. I don't know. I think Pan's probably going to be Namek Saga tier if she went Super Saiyan. So guys, that's been my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this Q&A as I answered some of your questions. I had to kind of speed it up today because I'm doing a quadruple upload. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'm trying to answer a lot more questions in one. So most importantly, over everything else, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day, guys.